Denver has the best offense in the entire NBA and a luxury tax bill to match. With Nikola Jokic in his prime, the Nuggets are a perennial contender and a perennial tax team. So this summer isn't about whether they're good, it's about whether they can afford to fix the one thing that got them bounced. Let me break down the cap. Here's the plan. First, where this team actually stands, because the offense and the defense tell two very different stories. Then the cap reality, what Jokic and Murray's salaries do to the books. Then the few tools they have, and the one weakness they have to fix on a budget. The roster facts are verified, the dollar figures are projections. Let's start with the team. This is Game is Culture. Quick thing before we dig in, if you like cap breakdowns that show the real math instead of guessing, subscribe. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, where Denver stands. Where they stand. Start with the split personality. Denver finished with the #1 offense in the league and the best 3-point percentage in basketball, 54 wins, a true contender. But the defense slipped all the way to 21st, and that's exactly why they lost in the playoffs, a 6-game defeat to Minnesota. So this is an elite offensive team with a real specific flaw on the other end. The talent is championship level, the defense is not. And it's all powered by the best player in the world. Nikola Jokic put up a video game line, nearly 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists a night, on a ludicrous 67% true shooting. As long as he's on the floor, Denver's offense is unstoppable. That's the gift and the curse. You have a top 2 player on the planet, so you owe it to him to build a champion, no matter what it costs. Around him, the core is strong but changing. Jamal Murray had a big, healthy year as the co-star at 25 a game. Aaron Gordon, the perfect Jokic complement, missed half the season hurt. And the front office got younger on the wing, trading Michael Porter Jr. for Cameron Johnson and leaning on ascending youngsters like Peyton Watson and Christian Braun. The supporting cast is solid, but its health and its defense are the open questions. The cap reality. Here's the financial picture. Nikola Jokic is on a supermax, the largest contract in the sport, and Jamal Murray is on a max of his own. Add Aaron Gordon and Cameron Johnson's real money, and Denver is paying a fortune for its top 4. That's how you build around a generational center, but it's also how you become a perennial luxury tax team year after year. With the penalties stacking up, the longer you stay over the line. Put it on a bar. The tax line sits around $188 million, the second apron near $222. Denver projects up in deep tax territory, my estimate well over $200 million, brushing that second apron. And because they've been over the line for years, they face repeater tax penalties, which multiply the bill. The Nuggets aren't a little expensive. They're paying a premium on top of a premium. And being near the second apron is a cage. Denver can't combine salaries in a trade. They lose the full mid-level exception, and their picks risk getting frozen. So their entire toolkit this summer is the small taxpayer mid-level, worth around $5.5 million, plus minimum contracts and their own bird rights. They can't go shopping for a difference maker. They can only find value at the margins, the same bind every tax-loaded contender faces. Winning versus the bill. So Denver's whole summer is a tension, winning versus fiscal sanity. They can pay the enormous, escalating tax to keep this contender together, betting that a healthy roster wins it all while Jokic is in his prime. Or they can flinch, trim salary to ease the repeater penalties, and accept a slightly lower ceiling. For most owners, that's a real debate. For a team with the best player alive, it shouldn't be much of one. Lay out the two paths, run it back, eat the repeater tax, and bet that a healthy Gordon and a fixed defense make Denver a champion again. Or trim, move a salary to duck under a penalty line, get a little flexibility back, and accept you're slightly worse. One path maximizes Jokic's window, the other protects the wallet. When you have the best player in the world, you choose the window every time.
Quick halftime note, if you want every team's cap broken down like this all summer, subscribe. It's free and it helps. Now the thing that softens the bill. Here's what keeps Denver's situation manageable. Cheap, homegrown talent. Peyton Watson, Christian Braun, and Julian Strawther are young, ascending players on inexpensive rookie deals, which is the only way a Supermax team stays viable. You fill the rotation with bargains. Denver's player development has been quietly excellent, and those cheap, useful young players are what let them keep contending without the tax bill becoming truly impossible. Homegrown value is their pressure valve.
And those young players are also the only real trade currency they have. If Denver wants to upgrade, say swap a couple of young pieces and a pick for a proven defender, that's the lever, since they can't aggregate big salaries over the apron. So the same homegrown talent that keeps them afloat financially is also their ammunition to improve. How they balance keeping versus trading those kids is the quiet subplot of their offseason. So grade Denver's flexibility, and it's low, the price of being a perennial contender. A mini exception, minimums, and some tradable youth. That's the toolkit. But flexibility was never going to be their advantage. Their advantage is Nikola Jokic. The Nuggets don't need cap space, they need to spend their limited tools and trade chips wisely on the one thing that costs them, defense, while the best player alive is still in his prime. And the spending priority could not be clearer. Denver has the best offense in the league, so not a single dollar should go toward more scoring. Every tool, the mini exception, the minimums, any trade, should target defense, specifically a perimeter stopper and wing depth that survives the playoffs. The Nuggets got bounced because they couldn't get stops, not because they couldn't score. Fix that, and a healthy version of this team is a champion again. Where could I be wrong? If ownership decides the repeater tax is finally too steep, a salary trimming move becomes real and the ceiling dips. And the exact apron math depends on a couple of decisions that aren't final, so treat the dollars as estimates. But the shape is clear. Denver is a rich, capped-out contender whose entire offseason is about finding cheap defense to protect Jokic's championship window. So that's Denver's cap reality. The best offense in basketball, a giant tax bill, and one fixable flaw on defense. Do they pay anything to keep the window open or finally flinch at the bill? And next video, the realistic free agents who can shore up that defense on a budget. Tell me what you do below. And we are so close to 1,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.